Hey guys, welcome back to Feather's Charm. I'm Feather and welcome to this episode of the My Bullet Journal Journey series. Today I'll be creating the pages for June. Now before we begin, please don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, share and follow me here on YouTube, on my social media channels, on my website and on Patreon. Your support really does help me make more content like this. Now on with the video. First off, I will be starting with the Uniball Unipin black fine liner in the 0.8 tip. This is the thickest tip of the fine liners, and I'll be using it to create this calligraphy hand lettering style for the word June. The next pen I will be using is the next nib down. It's the 0.5 tip. It's not quite as thick as the 0.8 tip, but it is perfect for these doodles that I will be creating throughout the month of June. And it's these leaf motifs that you see here. Next up, I will be using the Arteza metallic acrylic marker in the A714 metallic chartreuse pen. Chartreuse or chartreuse, whatever you want to call it. It is this sort of olive green, mossy green kind of color that I will be using for the spines for these leaves. Now, as you can see, I am using a different pen here. This is the Staedtler double-ended fiber tip pen, and I will be using the different shades of green in the pack that I have. I believe I have the 36 pen pack, and there are several shades of green, as you can see here, that I will be using. You can see a couple of little paws coming through on the side in this video. That is actually my cousin's cat. While I was recording these videos, I was cat sitting for her earlier in May, and I believe she just wanted to say hi. So everyone say hi to Ali. Now you can see here I am checking my hand every now and then. That's because these double-ended fiber tips tend to leak. So if you want to ever use these pens, or if you want to buy them, just be aware that they do smudge and smear and leak. Now you can see here I'm using stickers for my bullet journal. I have 4 different packs of these leaves and flowers. I believe I bought them off of Etsy. I'm not too sure, but I will put the link down below in the description if I do find it. I don't use all 4 packs, I just use the white pack, as you saw the different colors there. Everyone say hi to Ali again. Now, as you can see here, I am using the patterned paper that I bought a while back, years back. I bought them from The Works, I believe. And this colored paper, I got that from Ryman Stationery. Anyway, I am going to be using this sort of scrapbook style again, like I did for my first pages video. If you've not checked that out, I highly recommend that you do, so you can get more inspiration for your bullet journal. But anyway, I am using the scrapbook style because, as I've said before, I am not an artist. I cannot draw for the life of me. Yes, I can do some doodles, but they are never really fully proportionate and such. So this scrapbook style is perfect because it doesn't require too much work. Now, as you can see, I'm also using washi tape. These are all from the washi tape shop. The ones that I showcased prior to the ones that I'm showcasing now were also from the washi tape shop, but it was when they were first starting out, when I believe they were drop shipping before they created their own washi tape. So these ones are out of commission, but the new ones, I highly recommend you check them out. They are amazing. Now, as you can see here, I'm also using the Uniball Unipin fine liner in 0.3. In this, I'm using to create the calendar that you see here. And as you can see here, I am using the stickers that I showcased previously. Like I said, I'm using the white stickers because they are more aligned to the style and the theme of this spread. And there we have the cover page. We are now moving on to the monthly overview. So as you can see in the pencil outline, the left side will be used for my sort of monthly goals and things to take over into July, and the right side of the journal will be used for my daily habits. Now you can see there's an outline around the daily habits trackers. That outline is for me to cut out. I will be creating a Dutch door style for this page. I was inspired by my previous spread for March 2025. I am also using the 0.1 tip for the Uniball Unipin fine liner, and I'll be using this for the calendars throughout the spreads for June. Here I am playing around with all these different scraps that I have. These scraps were actually created from the cover page, and I was trying to use them because I didn't want them to go to waste, and that's something that I'm sort of interested in. I would like to try to reduce my waste for creating these journals, and one method for that is by using the scraps that are left over from my scraps. So as you can see here, I've used thinner pieces, smaller pieces that were created when I first created the cover page here. Now, as you can see here, I am using a very tiny pair of scissors. These are not actual paper scissors. These are sewing scissors, which I use when I create my crochet pieces, when I do cross stitch and knitting and things like that. So it's not actually viable for this kind of work. However, while I was making this video, like I said, I was cat sitting for my cousin. I accidentally forgot to bring a pair of scissors with me, and I was left with the pair that I had on hand. So I had to use my sewing scissors. Now, as you can see here, I'm outlining the tracker boxes for my daily habits. These tracker boxes will be filled out with colored fine liner that I have, similar in style and color to the Staedtler double-ended fiber tip. These fine liners that I'll be using are actually the Staedtler fine liners, which will sort of match the boxes that I create for the rest of June. As you can see here, the middle of the Dutch doors will be a calendar, so I can list all the events and tasks, important tasks for June. This is a sort of double Dutch door where 2 pages are made into a Dutch door for the spread. So both sides of the calendar will be smaller than the other pages around it. I like this style. It was sort of influenced by my March spread, as I mentioned earlier, because it's interesting and it sort of tightens up the space, so there isn't too much wastage. Now I know I say there's not too much wastage and I am cutting things out, but as you can see here, I use the scraps as a sort of backing so that the outlines on the outer part of the page don't overflow into the page behind it. So I use it as a sort of protection for the page beneath. And as you can see here, I'm just covering up the areas that I won't be using for this calendar, just to ensure that it just doesn't stay blank. Now on the other side of the calendar, I am using the blank space here for my hobby hub. This is where I track the skills that I'll be using during June. So as many of you know, I crochet, knit, cross stitch, all that jazz. And I wanted to make sure that I do at least one of these skills, one of these hobbies during the month of June, at least one a day. If I can partake in more than one a day, great, but I'm pretty sure I'll probably be able to do at least one of them. So the hobbies I am tracking are crochet, knitting, cross stitch, jewelry making, macrame, whatever you want to call it, or friendship bracelet making, and watercoloring. Alright, now we are moving on to the weeks. This is the cover page for the weeks. Now, I normally don't need to do this cover page because I used to include my trackers into my weeks. So instead of a monthly tracker, I would have weekly trackers. But because I'm making monthly trackers now, I have to make weekly cover pages. And so I am creating this cover page. Watched my previous video, the first pages of 2026, I include these dictionary cards within the spread, and that's what I'm using here again. I have a link for the one that I'm using in the description below, and I'm using the word framework for the weeks because it's a sort of framework for the month, really. So yeah, that's what I'm using. I'm trying to use it up because I kind of want to use other alphabets, other words in my journal, but I want to finish using up all the resources I have now before moving on to something new. Now, as you can see, we are on to the first week of June. Now, the layout for this week is a very similar layout to the very first bullet journal videos that I'd made here on this channel. If you haven't checked those out, I highly recommend you do, and I will link them in the end credits here or in the credit cards that you see floating around on videos like this, and I will link it in the description below. But I highly recommend you check them out because I create this layout pretty much throughout 2023, 2024. This is my favorite layout, especially if I'm using weekly trackers, because I can use the inner part of the page for the daily tasks and the outer part of the page for the trackers. Of course, now I don't actually have trackers, but it is great for creating decorative spaces in this journal. And I love it. I love this style because it's simple to make. But I am sort of experimenting with the layouts that I like. So for the next couple of weeks of June, I change it up, and I will be changing it up throughout the year because I kind of want to see what else I like, what other layouts I like, whether I like the sort of artistic style where it's haphazard and it's different spaces, or if I like uniform like what you see here. It's all about an experiment, and that's what a bullet journal is. It's about experimenting with what styles you like and learning what methods and materials you like to use and what it is you want to track and all that jazz throughout the year. And it's always changing, so it doesn't have to stay the same. And that's what I like about bullet journals. Whereas in pre-printed journals, yes, the layout is the same. Yes, you have the same amount of space for your daily tasks and whatnot, but it's not very artistic and you'd have to work around the lines and the things that they have there. So that's why I like creating my bullet journals, because it gives me the freedom I need or want for the styles that I want. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I associate every month with a different color. So for January, in my previous videos, you probably saw a sort of Art Deco style where there's all this black and gold and all this glitz and glam. For February, I see it as a blue month. I don't see it as a pink month. I know Valentine's Day makes it pink, but for me it's blue, and I don't know why. March is a sort of peachy color. So it's that sort of gentle peach color that covers everything. If you've seen my March video, you'll know what I mean. For April, I see a dark rose, dark maroon, dark pink color. For May, I kind of see several different colors. I see lavender, I see mint, I see cherry blossom pink, and I see pale blue. It's a combination of some of these colors. So the lavender and the pale blue go together, and the mint and the cherry blossom pink kind of go together. And I'm stuck between those two. I don't know why. May is a little bit weird. For June, I see green. I see sort of jungle greens, and that's why I kind of made this spread green. Yes, it's not quite as dark as it should be, but that's because I can't really write on top of a dark color with a dark color. I do have a white pen. I think I should have used that instead, but I just see June as a green month. And July, heads up, will be a lavender lilac month. What about you guys? Let me know what you think. Do you associate June with a theme, a color, a style? Let me know, because I'm very interested and I don't want to be the only person that does this. So please let me know in the comments. We are now on to the last week of June. Now, I say the last week. This week also includes the last 3 days of June. So the 28th, 29th, and 30th will be included in this weekly spread because I didn't want to use the July spread for those last 3 days. I would much prefer to include it in this spread so that it cleanly cuts off June and July. A lot of the times I never really know how other journalists create their bullet journals because they never really fully showcase the full month, whether or not they include the last few days or the first few days of the month in the previous spread or the last spread. So I'm showing you here that I am including the last 3 days of June in this last month because it fits and it breaks the months up more evenly. We are now on to the final page of this spread, and that is the June in Review spread. This I use to outline what has happened in June, what I've done, what I've accomplished, what could have been done better, that sort of thing. And it's a sort of return to a system that I had back in school. So the system I had was the WWW-EBI system. That means what went well, WWW, and even better if, EBI. These are sort of feedback systems where I list out all the things I accomplished, all the things that I managed to achieve and complete, and then outline the challenges and the areas of improvement that I could work on in July or throughout the year. And that's what I'm doing at the bottom half of this page. I'm outlining the challenges, my gratitudes, my accomplishments, and the things that I could have improved on in July or further down the line. And there we have it. That is my June spread. So we are just going to go through it. We're going to flip through it quickly so you can get an overall idea of what it looks like, gain your inspiration from this video, and all that jazz. I absolutely love this spread because it is based on my favorite color. Green is my favorite color, and it is somewhat simple and yet decorative. Yes, it might have taken me a few hours to make, but it's pretty. And as you all know, I love pretty things. And hopefully I'll be using it more often than I have been for the past year. Like I said, I'll explain what happened in that year later down the line. Right now, I'm happy with this. What about you guys? What do you think? Do you like it? Do you hate it? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, share, and follow me here on YouTube, on my social media channels, on my website, and on Patreon. Your support really helps me make more content like this for you guys. And as always, be kind, be creative, and be unique. I'll see you later. Feather out.